All right, so we're going back to the sin of the golden calf. The conclusion, what happened? Moses said he was going up on Mount Sinai to receive the tablets for 40 days. So he went up, everybody was very happy. This is going to come back in 40 days. Moses meant 40 full days. And they thought that he intended even half days. So the first day that he went up was not a full day. So it shouldn't have been counted, but they counted it. As a result, their 40-day waiting period ended mistakenly one day earlier when he didn't come back. So all the Jewish people said, he's not going to come back. That's it. Moses was very punctual, and he went into a very dangerous place, and he hasn't eaten for 40 days and for 40 nights. And so it's pretty sure that he's not going to come back. And as though if there were any doubts, so it said that the devil made everything all dark, and suddenly the weather got really terrible, like in some sort of a a miserable horror movie or something. And to make things even worse, he showed the people a similarity of Moses. They thought it was Moshe's body floating through the air as though Moshe was dead. So they figured, okay, this is it. He was really great. Moses took us out of Egypt, but this was too much. He went into the fiery furnace, the godliness. We couldn't even take 2 words of God speaking. The first 2 commandments, the Jews couldn't take it. And that was only for a couple of seconds. And now Moshe's been up there for 40 days. Obviously, he's not going to come back. So what did they do? So they took there was a mixed multitude with him. And the mixed multitude said, well, we know what to do. Let's make a golden calf. So they made a golden calf. They threw all their gold into a big melting pot, and there came miraculously out this pot. We talked about it yesterday. And the Jewish people started worshiping this calf. And they said, this is the God who's going to take us out of Egypt. He's going to be our leader. He's going to be this. Well, of course, this did not go unnoticed by God. And God says to Moses, Vayomer Hashem to Moshe. God said to Moses, one second. Vayomer Hashem al Moshe, God spoke to Moses, and he said, Lech red. Lech red, go down. Rashi says, what does it mean, go down from your greatness? Because the only reason you're so great, Moses, is for the Jewish people. The Jewish people are finished. Because your people have become debauched, that you took them from the land of Egypt. They have turned quickly from the way that you have commanded them, that I commanded them rather. And they made a molten calf, and they're bowing down to it, and they're making sacrifices to it. And they're saying, this is the God that took you out of Egypt. Okay, now we're going to learn later that this is really what made God mad. This is really what made God mad. What made God mad was that, come on, God took the Jews out of Egypt. And now they're saying that this statue took them out of Egypt. And that's pretty weird, pretty far. But on the other hand, that's all they had. God, they didn't feel God's presence anymore. And this golden calf came about miraculously. It just popped up out. And it gave everybody this feeling of comfort. Interestingly, it says that not in the time of the first temple, there was a great man called Yerovam ben Nevat. Yerovam ben Nevat, he was a very, very tremendous Talmud scholar and a holy person. He was personally chosen by God. Yerovam ben Nevat, he was personally chosen by God. God sent a prophet to him, Achia Shiloni, to tell him to take 10 tribes and divide the kingdom of Israel. And the upper part would be called Israel, and the bottom part would be called Yehuda. And the bottom part was where the Holy Temple was. And the top part, the people would go down to the Holy Temple. Anyway, he didn't want the people to go down to the Holy Temple. So he built 2 golden calves. 2 golden calves. Now, everybody then in those days, everybody knew the Bible. I mean, every non-Jew knew the Bible. The Torah, the Bible, the Jews, it was just fresh fresh out. Now this was about 400 and 450 years, something like that, a little bit longer. This is after King Solomon died. So it's like about 500 years after the Jewish people worshiped the golden calf. That's when this Yerovam ben Nevat came and he built these golden calves. It was the same time as the Holy Temple was there. The Holy Temple had just been built by King Solomon. As soon as King Solomon died, as the kingdom split, because King Solomon's son, Rehoboam, was not a good king. So the Jewish people worshiped the golden calf. Well, I mean, everybody knew the Torah. Everybody knew how much God got mad. But it says that the desire for idolatry, we don't know what that is nowadays. The desire for idolatry was so strong then that it was just miraculous that you could hold yourself back from it. It was such a tremendous pleasure, and it was so comforting and so seemingly meaningful that it just couldn't be, people couldn't resist it. And it's basically the same thing with the other religions today. I mean, the other religions, other religions are based on worshiping something together with or other than, some person or something other than God or together with God. But it's comforting and it's working and it's successful. Here we see all the Jewish people, they went after. I think they were more enthusiastic about the worshiping the golden calf than they were about God, about the God who took them out of Egypt. So we can't, in a way, you can't really blame them. In fact, there's a story in the Talmud, I think it's Reb Ashi, and he made a joke. I think it was Reb Ashi. Anyway, he said, tomorrow we're going to learn about our friend Menashe. Menashe was another, how do you say, disappointing king. He was the son of Cheskiyahu, of the king Cheskiyahu. He was a great, anyway, he worshipped idols big time, and he convinced everybody else to worship idols. And one of the Amoraim, but this is like 1,000 years later or something, said, now tomorrow we're going to learn about our friend Menashe. And everybody laughed. And that night Menashe appeared to him in a dream and said, my friend, you should know that if you were in my days, you would have lifted up your pant legs or whatever, and your toga or something, and you would have run in front of me. The urge to worship idols was so great. Essentially, what worshiping idols is exactly that. It's a thing that comforts a person, it makes a person feel good, and it's about himself. It gives him a feeling of security. He's going to go to heaven. He's going to go to whatever. That's idolatry. He's going to benefit in this world. He's going to benefit, and it gives him the benefits. It gives him the benefits. Okay. It says, I've seen these people, and they are kashe oref. They're stiff-necked people. Rashi says, what does it mean? They're stiff-necked? Oh, shalom. Shalom, Stephen. How are you? Wow, great. So it says you're a stiff-necked people. What does it mean, stiff-necked? Rashi says they're stiff-necked, that they turn their neck to the people who reprove them, and they don't want to hear, right? Somebody tells you, listen, I want to give you some advice. The way you drive is he just turns his back to you, doesn't want to listen to you. That's stiff-necked people. We're going to see later on that the stiff-necked people right here, that this is going to be a reason that God is going to forgive them. It says. Oh, wonderful. Shalom. Good to see you.
Better to see you.
Well, okay. Well, we'll talk about that. And that's arguable. Now it says God, now leave me, and my anger will burn, and I'll eat them up and make you into a great nation. So from here, Moshe understood that God is telling me, stand aside, Moshe, I'm going to get him. That if Moshe understood from this, that if he doesn't stand aside, then God will not get them. And this is going to be the opening for Moshe. Vayechal Moshe. And here it says, one second. Yes, that's right. Here we see that Moshe said that, okay, now I'm going to start to pray. I realize God is giving me an opening. Vayichal Moshe. So he starts to pray. Moshe prayed. Vayichal Moshe, and he requested as Penei Hashem Elokov, to the face of God, and he said, God, why should your anger burn on your people? You took them out of Egypt with such a tremendous power and a a powerful arm. You've already put so much energy into them. Why should you be and what are they doing? I mean, they're just bowing down to a statue. Come on, God. I mean, that's going to make you angry. It says, Klum mitkaneh elochacham b'chacham v'gibur b'gibur. A wise man, he gets jealous of another person who's wiser than him. A wise man is not jealous of someone that's powerful or whatever. A strong man, he's jealous of someone who's stronger as he is, or similar. A strong man is not jealous to a wise man. What are you jealous of, God? You're jealous about what? You're angry and zealous about what? About an idol. They're worshiping an idol. Come on, you're not on the same level, right? It's not in the same level. I mean, you're holy. It's like a wise man. He's not jealous of a street sweeper. The same thing. What are you jealous of? So the Rebbe has a sikh about this, and he says, really, I mean, why would God be jealous of a thing like that? It really doesn't make any sense. He says, no. The fact is, why was he jealous? Because the Jewish people said that the golden calf was what took them out of Egypt. And God brought him, had to really, how do you say, contract himself, bring himself down in order to do this, to take the Jews out of Egypt. It was an amazing feat of, what do you want to call it, making himself small. And now the Jewish people want to say that it wasn't God that did it. It was an angel. It was this golden calf, the power behind the golden calf that did it. So that's why God was mad. So Moses was trying to say to God, listen, it's ridiculous. The Jewish people really think that this idol took them out of Egypt. You know, okay, they're foolish. It's not, you shouldn't be jealous of them. Of course they didn't. You just leave them alone. The Jewish people are a bunch of fools, right? And they're fools. You can't be angry at them like little children. Right, we have a lot of explanations. We don't have that much time, and there's a lot of material over here. Lama Yomro Mitzrayim. Now Moses comes from another angle. First angle is, he says, God, the Jewish people are fools. What are they worshiping? A golden calf. It took them out of Egypt. Come on. It's just foolishness what they're doing. You can't get angry at them. You can reprove them. Now he's got another thing. And listen, God, the whole purpose that the Jewish people are in the world, and why did you put them in Egypt in the first place, is so that the world will know that there's a creator of the universe that really cares and gets involved in every detail of the world. And what are the reasons for saying that God doesn't exist, or that God? So we're not believing in God. So one reason is, you say, maybe there's no such thing. Who says that there's such thing as God? And that's reason number one. Reason number two, even if there is such a thing, maybe he just created the world and he doesn't care about it. That's reason number two. Number three is, okay, maybe God created the world, but he does care about it. Right? He does care, but not about everything, not about every detail, Then there's the third. Maybe God does know about the world and he does create every detail, but he hasn't got the power to rule over every detail. Right? There are certain things that he does rule over, and there's things he doesn't rule over. Maybe he hasn't got the power. Then there's yet another reason. Maybe God creates the world, and maybe God cares, and maybe God cares about every detail, and maybe God has the power. God has the power, but maybe God doesn't want to. Maybe doesn't want to. Maybe there's certain things that God hasn't got the power to do, or he doesn't want to do. So that's what Moses is saying. Listen, God, you created the world so that everybody will know about you and your greatness. And that's why you created the Jews and put us into Egypt, so that everyone will know about these amazing miracles. And now you're going to take the Jews out and you're going to kill them all in Egypt. And Mitzrayim, Egypt will say, that you took them out in a bad way. Rashi says, okay, you took them out in a bad way. You took them in order to kill them in the heart. Right? Oh, that's another thing. So I left this out. Maybe God creates the world, and maybe God cares, and maybe God this, but maybe God is cruel. Maybe God's way of doing things is not like he can do anything he wants to. So maybe he took the Jews out and he wants to kill them. You already see something similar with Abraham, that he told his son to come. Son. So it's not really worthwhile believing in a God that's just going to kill you anyway. So it says that the Egyptians will say that God took the Jews out of Egypt in order to kill them, right? To kill them, laharogotam beharim, to kill them up in the mountains or someplace where they can't, you won't be accessible, and to destroy them from the world. So therefore, God, turn back from your anger and have mercy and regret the bad that you want to do to your people. That's a known principle in Judaism of prophecy, that a prophet prophesies something, and that something doesn't come to be. So that's a sign that he's a false prophet. Said, but there's one more stipulation, that it has to be that it's a good prophecy that doesn't come to be. If a prophet prophesies something good and it doesn't come to be when he says, then it's a sign that he's a false prophet. But if he prophesies something bad, then it could be that the Jewish people will repent or recant, or that God will change his mind. Oh, wow, what did I do? I'm sorry, I have this. Oh, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Is this on? Oh, no. Oh, wow. I'm so sorry. The thing was not, I didn't turn on the microphone. I didn't turn on the microphone. Steve, did you hear me? Were you able to hear me?
I heard everything you said.
Oh, did you? Oh, so then it must have come through the other microphone. Well, that was a pretty big miracle. Okay, but it's a different microphone now. All right, wonderful, good. Okay, wow. Okay, thanks. I thought that I had just been talking to the great vast beyond or something. Okay, so Moshe is saying, now God, now, okay, so that's the second way Moses is going to say to God, right? Number one, what are you getting angry at the Jewish people? They just did a foolish thing. They worshiped a piece of gold. So what? Don't be jealous of them. Number two, what about what the non-Jews are going to say? I mean, you want to sanctify your name in the whole world. Everybody's going to say that you couldn't take the Jews, that there was just, or that you're bad, or you wanted to destroy them. And it was the opposite. It sends a very, very negative message to the world. Another message. Remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yisrael, your servants, that you promised them on yourself. You promised them by your name. And you spoke to them and you said, I will multiply your seed like the stars of the heaven, and this whole world, this land, which I told you, the land of Israel, I'll give it to your land. What I took the seed of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And now what are you trying to do, God? Now you want to say that you're going to wipe out all the Jewish people and I'm going to be a new nation? That the new nation is going to come from me? That's what God said before. He said, here it says, I'll make you into a big nation. That's what God said to Moses. Leave me alone. I'll let my anger burn on them. I'll destroy them, and I'll make a new nation from you. Huh? So Moses said, listen, God, it's a good idea. There'll be a new nation with a new DNA, and they won't be so rebellious, and they'll be my family. They'll have to listen to what I say. So Moses said, good idea, God. You got a good idea there, but it's not going to work. Why? Said, remember Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, you swore to their offspring that you would give their offspring okay, now you could say, well, listen, Moses is the offspring. He came from the tribe of Levi, which Levi was one of the sons of Yisrael. So it is sort of the offspring. So, but Rashi says, no, Moses was coming from a different angle. He was saying like this. Remember Avram. Im Avru Alesu Devoros, if the Jewish people went over the 10 commandments, then Avram Avinu nitnaseh be'esu nisyonos. Remember Abraham, the merit of him, that should stand for them. Why? Because Abraham also survived 10. The Jewish people, maybe they messed up 10, but Abraham survived 10. What was the 10? The 10 tests that God gave him. And Abraham still didn't receive his reward. So therefore, you should correspond. This 10, Abraham's 10, that he stood this 10 tests, should cancel out the 10 commandments that the Jewish people defiled. Another argument. Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov. If you want to burn the Jewish people, remember Avram, that he gave himself to be burned in Or Kasdim. It was as Nimrod, it says, threw him into a fiery furnace. Im Lariga. If you want to kill them by sword, remember Yitzchak, that he put his neck forward for the Akedah when Abraham took him up to sacrifice him to God. So Yitzchak at that time was 37 years old. He didn't oppose, he didn't fight at all, right? He didn't resist. So Yitzchak was willing to stick his neck out for the sword so his father would kill him. So therefore, don't kill the Jewish people by sword. In Legalos, maybe you want to say, okay, you know what? I'll exile the Jewish people. Remember Yaakov, that Yaakov, it says he went to the Haran, he had to work there all for Lavan so many years. And if you're not going to save the Jewish people because of the merit of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, then Mata Omer Li, what are you telling me? You're going to make a new nation from me? If a chair that has 3 feet, in other words, the Jewish people are the footstool of God, and you say that, and they have 3, that's a footstool, a chair, which has 3 legs to it, Avram, Yitzchak, Yaakov, if that won't stand, Ein Omed Lefanecha, as B'shas Kasa, when you get angry, so if my offspring get you angry, how much more so if a throne that just has one, the new Jewish people you want to make is going to come from me, and that won't stand up. So I saw one explanation here. It's very good, by the way. This book, Shai Lamora, it's worthwhile. Yeah. So he says, well, what do you mean? Moses just wanted to add on another. Moses was also from the tribe. Now he wanted to make a chair of 4 legs. It'll be Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're also the relatives. Moses was a relative of them also. And he would add on another leg. He said, no, but that's not what God wanted. God wanted to wipe out everything that had come from Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, except for one person, Moses and his family. That's the only ones that would be. And therefore, it would be that just like Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they're called the fathers of the Jewish nation because of their offspring. Noah, for instance, is not called the father of the Jewish people, right? Because there was no nation that came out of him. So it says Moshe, then the nation would come out of him. He would be the father, so it would only be one. It says, remember, so therefore, that's what Moses said. The merit of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, that wasn't enough. And so for sure, my merits are not going to be enough. Now, these are the merits of 3 great people. I'm only one great person. You said I'm a great God, but it's only one. It's not going to stand up. Okay, so it worked. Vayanachem Hashem al hara. God retracted the bad thing that he was going to do to his people. He took it back. Moses now came down from the mountain, and the 2 tablets were in his hand. They were written on, the writing went all the way through from both sides. From this, and they were ketuv. It says that it was a miracle that you could read it from both sides. In other words, the letters, you'd think, on one side, they would be written in a proper order. You turned it over, and the letters would be upside down, right? They would be not bad, reverse, but they weren't. Both sides were. It says there were other miracles also in that there were certain letters that are totally round, like a samach is round, but it says the middle of the samach stood miraculously up nothing also, right? It just stood also the final mem. It stood, the middle just stood up. So it was done in a miracle. In any case, the writing was miraculous and it was very amazing. That's what Rashi says. The letters of the Ten Commandments could be read from both sides. It was a miracle, a miraculous thing. The luchos were the work of God, and the letters were also the writing of God. What does it mean? God kamashmo, hu b'kavodo aso. God Himself made the tablets. In other words, the stone was some sort of a stone that was made especially by God. Another is like a person who says to his friend, everything is this. It's like a painting by Picasso. Everything that does the Torah, it belongs to God. So even though the rocks were regular rocks, but nevertheless, it's called, the whole thing is God's Torah. It's God's Torah. Nevertheless, the letters were carved out. Good. All right, there's a lot of interesting explanations, but let's just Yehoshua. Now, how did it work? Moshe went up on the mountain. When he came down, he met Yehoshua, and then he came down a little lower. He met the elders, and he came down a little bit lower. So it says that Yehoshua heard the people in the camp. Bereo. Rashi says Reo, they were friendship. They were happy and friendship and singing. Yomer said to Moshe, "Kol milchama b'machana." He said, "Wow, it's a sound of a war is going on in the camp." Moshe said back to him, "Nah, ein kol anus gevura, ein kol anus chalusha, kol anus anochi shamaya." This is not a voice that's answering victory, and it's not a sound that's answering defeat. Maybe we've been defeated. That's what they're screaming. Kol anot. Anot means poor, poverty. Kol cherufin v'gedufin. It's poor, it's terrible. It's a sound that the Jewish people are blaspheming. Ma'anim at the nefesh. That anot means poor, but it also means like suffering. It makes me suffer to hear what the Jewish people are saying. Shomim. Vayehi, there's another explanation I saw. It says this is not a sound, the sound that I hear from the camp, it's not a victory, it's not from defeat. This is also what Rashi says. Ein kol hazen nikra kol aniyos gevurim tzoakim, that they won, and not of weakness that they lost. But it says that it's a painful voice that I hear, a poor and a painful voice, that they're blaspheming and they're saying terrible things. But I heard another, says it's not a voice that's, the Jewish people are not yelling out with a voice that's answering and yelling out about victory, and not yelling out and answering about weakness and that we've been defeated. But call anot anochi. Everyone is yelling out anochi, I. Everyone is there's no one in the Jewish people is concerned about God. They're concerned about anochi, myself, me. They're all yelling out myself. This is one of the explanations from J.J. Hecht gave in a book. Okay, here we go. Moshe's coming down into the camp, and he saw the eagle, and he saw everybody's dancing, and he got very angry, and he threw the tablets from his hand, and he broke them under the mountain. Now, this is the last words in the Torah that God praises him for this. He praises him for this. And another place it says why. Okay, here it gives a different explanation, but here Moshe said, if the Passover lamb, that's only one commandment, the Torah said non-Jews, idol worshippers cannot eat it, how much more so the whole entire Torah, all the Jews are worshiping idols, and I'm going to give it to them. So, okay, there's another, when it says that why did Moshe break the tablets? It says one reason is, it gives a whole mushal over there, but it says that once upon a time there was a king and he went far away, and his wife was accused of cheating on him. And so he said, I'll kill her, I'll divorce her. So came along one of the maidservants and said, why would you do that? He said, because she's married. So she ripped up the marriage contract. So it's the same thing with Moses. Moses came down from Mount Sinai, and God got very angry. The Jewish people are worshiping a golden calf. So Moses said, why is it wrong to worship a golden calf? So God said, what are you talking about? It says in the 10 Commandments. So Moses broke the 10 Commandments. So he broke the 10 Commandments in order to save the Jewish people. Now, you have to think about this a little bit because it's not so simple. The 10 Commandments, they were the Holy of Holies. That was in the Holy. There was nothing, it's very rare. I don't know if you can find anybody today, maybe could be, even the most non-religious Jew, that he would be willing to open up a Torah scroll and walk on it or tear it up. A Jew, I don't know, maybe it could be communists. Very rare to see. Now, this is a Torah scroll. The tablets were very holy, very holy. And not only that, it was the whole purpose of Moses. The whole essence of Moses was the Torah. Torah tziva lanu Moshe, right? Moshe kibel Torah misinai. The whole thing of Moses was to take the Jewish people out of Egypt and get the Torah. That was the whole thing was the Torah. To receive the Torah on Mount Sinai, and then Moses explained the Torah, and he taught them the Torah, and he wrote down the Torah, and he gave them all the laws of the Torah, and that's why he was up there for 40 days, so that God would explain to him the Torah, the Torah, the Torah, the Torah, the Torah. And now, all of a sudden, the holiest, the most pure thing in the world is the Torah. And the most debauched, lowest thing in the world were the Jews. They had all worshipped idols just days after God told them not to do it, and they did it on purpose. So the Jews were the lowest of the low. They did the worst sin, and they heard directly from God not to do it. On the other hand, the Torah was the most pure of the pure. So Moses said, listen, I'm not making any of these calculations. I'm here for the Jewish people. That's why I am going to wreck the Torah. The Torah, okay, if that's what has to be done, that's what I'll do. And he broke the Torah, which means he broke his whole entire career and everything he had lived for, everything he had worked for, everything he had suffered for, broke the whole thing. And in the end of the Torah, God says, Yeshakoch, it's a good thing that you broke them because you saved the Jewish people. So he broke them. Oh no. Moses then took the golden calf that the Jew, and he burned it in fire, ground it up, spread it on the water, and he made the Jewish people drink. Okay, so Rashi is going to say here that there were 3 different types of death. This is one. Let's go back to the sentence a second. Moshe said, what can I do? These people have made a tremendous sin. So it said, and don't be mad because the Jewish people here, it said, let's just go a little bit. Moshe saw that the people were going crazy. So Moshe said, who to God is to me? Who, these people are against God. Who's with me? So all the tribe of Levi came, and it said, Moses said to them, okay, the Levites, put on your swords and go around and kill everybody, every person, kill even your best friends, right? And even anyone who served the idol, kill them. And then after that, it says that day, the Levites killed 3,000 people. Now, how many people died from the drinking the golden calf, the ground up golden calf? It doesn't say. And then we're going to see that there's another punishment here. It says, where is it? Anyway, it says, right in the end here. Oh, so again, God repeats, and he says, okay, I'm gonna destroy all the Jews. Moshe says, please bear their sins, and if you don't, then wipe me out from the book that you wrote. And God said, okay, I'll tell you who I'm gonna wipe out. And it ended up that Vayigov, there was a plague among the Jewish people. for the people who made the armament. So in other words, there were three types of death. One was that Moses said, take the golden calf, grind it up, and spread it on the water, make everybody die, make everybody drink, right? And those people who serve the idol, they'll die. Then Moses said to the Levites, take your swords and kill anyone who transgressed. And then 3,000 people died. And then afterwards, God made another plague to kill them. So why three times? Why? So here Rashi explains. Let's go back here. And this will be the end of the class here. Okay, so it says, Moses said, why did Moses take the golden calf and grind it up and put it in water, make people drink? He was trying to test them like a sota. What's a sota? A sota is a lady, a married lady that her husband suspects that she's cheating on him. And he warns her and he says, I don't want to see you. It has to have a specific person. I don't want to see you even talking to such and such a person again, to the butcher. And she talks to him. There's no witnesses. They don't know what she did. If there's witnesses, then she gets divorced. If there was witnesses in a warning, she gets killed. No witnesses. So he says, so the husband now suspects his wife. She's been warned, duly warned, and she ignored the warning, and she went with this person that her husband told her not to go with, and alone in a room for a couple of minutes, long enough to have relations. And they come out of the room. She says, I didn't do anything. I just talked to him. We didn't have nothing whatsoever to do, right? So she takes her to the holy temple and makes her drink this water, special, right? Water that this part of the part, this portion of the Torah where this commandment is burned and is put on water. It makes her drink the water. And if she was guilty, then she dies. So that's what God did here. He took the golden calf and he wanted to check them like a sota, like this lady, the sota. And if they were guilty, she died. So why three types of death? Here Rashi explains there's three types of death that were here. One of them was if there were witnesses, v'hatra'ah, if there were Jews that were warned, and they were told not to do it. Don't worship this golden calf. And there were witnesses that warned them and told them, then these people were truly guilty, right? They have witnesses and warning. They were judged with the by the sword. And probably the ones who were warning everybody was the tribe of Levi. This was the tribe of Moses, was the tribe of Levi, because God wanted to wipe out all the Jews, everybody. And the only one would be left would be Moses and his family. So it could be that they were the ones that were, in any case, 3,000 people, 3,000 Jews worshiped the golden calf, even after they were warned and in front of two witnesses. That's like the law of the people of the city, that a whole city gets worshiping idols. It's called the Iranidachas. They get punished by the sword. What if there were Jews that worshiped the golden calf and there were witnesses that came and testified, I saw Shmerel worshiping the golden calf, but they didn't warn them, or they didn't warn them properly. So they died, like we learned in the end, by the Megefa. By the Megefa. That was the plague that God made. There were witnesses, but they weren't warned. According to Torah law, a person cannot be punished, cannot receive the death punishment unless he had also a proper warning and proper witnesses. So if those people that had a warning and witnesses, they were killed by the Levites with a sword. Those people that did not have any warning or an improper warning, but there were witnesses, they got killed by God's plague that he made. We read in, like it says, V'yigofas Hashem et ha'am. What we read just now. What about people that worship the golden calf in private, alone? They didn't have any witnesses. And there was no witnesses and there was no warning. So that was be hadrakan from the water, from this punishment of the water, that the water would make their stomach swell up and etc. So three different types of punishments that there was. Three different types. They say that there were also Jews, there were different reasons also that Jews worship. We talked about this yesterday. That some Jews just worshiped the golden calf because they were afraid. They just wanted a crutch. They wanted somebody to lead them. Others, they worshiped the golden calf because they wanted to serve God. They wanted God, but they wanted to partner with God. They wanted to serve God with partners. So they worshiped the golden calf, but they also worshiped God. And some of them just worshiped God. They worshiped the golden calf. They left God totally. They said, let's worship the golden calf. That's pure idolatry. Those are the ones that got killed. Those are the ones that got killed, the punishable by death. Like that. Interestingly enough, though, it says that God wanted to kill everybody. Why did he want to kill everyone? I mean, obviously, everybody did not do the sins. Let's say there were 3,000 people died, and there were 600,000 males from the age, 600,000 males just above the age of 20. So, 3,000 died from the sword, and let's say another 10,000 died from this. Let's say 20,000, 50,000 died, 100,000 died, right? 300,000 died, but they all didn't die. Obviously, they all didn't die. They worshiped the golden calf. So why did God want to wipe them all out? Why did he want to wipe everybody out? So the Rebbe said that it could be the reason is that because they stood by. In other words, they should have interfered. They should have at least protested and said, you shouldn't do this. Even though it's true that they saw that Hur, the son of Miriam, that he protested and that he was killed. But nevertheless, you see something wrong, you're supposed to say something. You're supposed to do something. So that was the reason why God wanted to kill everyone. In any case, all of the Jewish people were affected by this terrible and very strange sin of the golden calf. And we'll see, though, that in the end, God does forgive the Jewish people miraculously. And tomorrow we're going to learn about this forgiveness and the second tablet. So be with us tomorrow. And hope to see you at 8:15 for Chassidut in the morning. Learning beautiful mimer. So have a good day. God bless you. With Mashiach now.
Amen.
Thanks for tuning in. Shalom.
Shalom.